Ba-ba-ba-da-ba, Chicken Tales!
Hello, and welcome to Chicken Tales. I'm so happy that you're here. My name is Sarah, and this is episode 7. Today we have a story from Penny about a time-traveling duck, and the second half of Cynthia's detective journal. Also a funny joke, and a silly activity of the day. So gather up some chickens, settle down in your nest, and get ready to listen to some chicken tales. Our first story is by Penny, and it's entitled Duck and the Time Toilet. Once upon a time, there was a duck named Duck. One day, Duck had to go to the bathroom, so he started searching for a toilet. He eventually found one behind a tree, and he sat down to use it when zap! Duck found himself sitting on a toilet in dinosaur times. He was like, "Whoa! I'm in Dino Duck times!" He stood up to go explore, but then there was a loud roar, and he was freaking out when Duck realized that the toilet was probably a time toilet. So he sat back down to go home, and zap! Duck was in the Ice Age! Brr! He stood up to go see a woolly mammoth because he had always wanted to see a woolly mammoth. But it was too cold to go exploring, so he sat back down on the toilet seat, which felt super cold because Ice Age. Zap! Duck was on the moon. "Wow, I'm the first duck in space," said Duck. Zap! He was at his cousin's disco birthday party. Zap! Duck was finally back behind the tree. Duck waddled back to his pond and lived happily ever after. The end. Wait, I still have to use the bathroom. Okay, fine, go quick. La 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 la, flush! Zap! Whoopsies. Now it's the end. Thank you, Penny. I think the duck was so smart to figure out that he was time traveling so quickly. And smart to zap out right away. I also have always wanted to see a woolly mammoth, and I feel badly that Duck got too cold to explore. It must have been really cold there, because do you know what I found out? Ducks have special blood vessels in their feet that help them distribute heat throughout their bodies, which keeps them warmer than other animals. It's one reason why ducks are found on every continent, except for Antarctica. Also, I found out when ducks sleep in a group, one duck is the lookout and keeps one eye open when it sleeps. That's why you can't sneak up on ducks. But Penny, we need to know more information about this disco duck birthday party, and also about being the first duck in space. Did anyone else find the time-traveling toilet? Write back and let us know, okay? And now it's time for Joke of the Day.
What's the kindest dinosaur? A plesiosaur.
Our second story today is the second half of Cynthia the Squirrel's quest for the yellow jacket. Day 6, Surveillance. I am so tired. My older sister snores, and I couldn't sleep at all last night. I just kept thinking about those coat rains. If only I had one. I could play all day in the rain, and I could swim in puddles without getting cold and wet. And then I could come straight into the nest like the children humans do, without getting everyone else wet. How could I get one? Think. It's sunny today, so the children humans are playing outside again. They have big, colorful feet today and are splashing in the playground puddle. Day 7, not surveillance. What a crazy night! Diary, you won't believe it. I snuck down to the porch last night and noticed something. Those coat rains were hanging on a wall. They were just sitting there. So I took one. I took it and I ran into the forest and hid it behind a really, really big tree. There is a wise old owl that lives in the forest, and she makes clothing for creatures who get cold in the winter. Not the hibernating animals, of course, but the ones that stay awake. Those blue jays are always driving her crazy, but she likes me because I brought her an acorn once. I don't think she ate it. She's really nice, but the mice are scared of her. I don't know why. Anyway, I brought her the big coat rain and I asked her to make me one. She said she would, but she needed some human tools. And the tools she needed were in the wooden house. Al said there was a grown-up human in the wooden house named Jolie, and Jolie had sewing tools under a big green table. So I ran right away to go get them. By this time, the sun was up, and I had just made it to the desk when I heard people talking. While I hid under the desk, huge humans had come in and sat down. One went off to make something called coffee, and then they were all talking. Finally, they went outside, and I made my escape. But my mom was really mad. So I'm not allowed to leave the nest for 2 days. Day 9. Not surveillance. I made it out of the nest to take the tools to Al. She made me a coat rain of my very, very own. It's yellow and I love it so much. I ran right away to the playground and I jumped in that puddle. I went down the slide and over the bridge and I jumped on the bouncy thing and I played in the sand and I even made mud acorns in the kitchen. And I went on the flying thing. I hopped on the stumps near the big tree. I ran everywhere in my brand new yellow coat rain. I even danced and sang as loud as I could. But then something happened. I was running and jumping in my coat rain, and I looked over at the wooden house. 2 grown-up humans and 4 smaller children humans were looking out the window at me. They saw me. They stared at me, and I stared at them. I ran away really, really fast and climbed the big tree, and I went flying into my nest, and that's when I realized I still had on my yellow coat rain. Diary, if there's something I've learned, is that you can't keep a secret from your mom, especially if you are still wearing the secret. She was pretty mad. I had to explain everything to her from the beginning. That night, she made me return the tools to Jolie's green desk and the cut-up coat rain to the porch. She said I had to pay for the damage I had done. So I left an acorn on the green desk and 1 in each of the wooden cubbies in the smaller room. Later that day, I heard the grown-up humans telling the children humans about a squirrel they saw in a yellow coat rain, except they called it a raincoat. The children humans seemed really excited about it. They all ran out on the playground to look for me. You know what? The next time it rains, maybe I'll go out and play with them. In my yellow coat rain. The end. So I've gotten a few questions about this story. Some people are wondering who wrote it. Cynthia, of course. She let me use her detective journals and her diary to read a story to you. So there you have it. Next up, the silly activity of the day. For today's silly activity, let's make some necklaces. You should take a piece of string or yarn or ribbon or rip out one of your sweaters. Actually, maybe get permission from your grown-up first to do that. And find something to put on it for a pendant or some beads. You could use beads or paper clips or your dog's collar or some pasta or some ice cubes. Ice cubes probably won't last that long. Maybe some acorns from a friendly squirrel, a burrito, some Legos, whatever you have, and make the biggest, most fun necklace you possibly can. And then you should make some for the other people in your house. They would love it. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you for listening to Chicken Tales. Remember, today, if you go roller skating with chickens, ask them to tell you a story. But if they don't want to, you can write one yourself and send it to us at chickentailspod@gmail.com. Bye-bye.
Ba-ba-ba-da-ba, chicken tails!